1. Ryan Blaney wins and holds off one of his best mates, Bubba Wallace, to go back-to-back at New Hampshire. 2. Did Josh Berry prove he deserved the cup seat with that third-place finish? It won't be the RCR 33. We know that now. And 3. Lando wins again. Max crashes out of his last home race. Are we still invested in this F1 season if we come out of a summer break? What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Ben and Brandon's Motorsport Monday. I am Ben Schneider, joined as always by Brandon Crossan. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ben. Hope you're doing fine. Hello to everyone watching live or after the fact. And we are glad that you make your Monday evening appointment right here with us on Motorsport Monday. And we're getting a little bit of a taste of fall here in Southeast, well, at least here in Middle Tennessee. Just a little bit of a relief from the heat and getting us excited for autumn and college football and all the things. Got to head back to Austin Peay for the Friends and Family show and see what the Governor's Own marching band's been working on. But I mean, our first game is this Thursday versus Gardner Webb. So they get one of those ESPN Plus Thursday night week 0 sort of matchups. So excited about that and to get that time of the year underway. My wife and I both agree it's our just fall, autumn. That's our absolute favorite time of the year. And the chase. Let's not forget the chase.
Well, yes, the Truck Series chase for the
starts now. Yep.
Truck Cup, I guess you could. What do we call the trophies nowadays? I'm sure there's an official. It's still the Bill France Cup, isn't it?
The Bill France Cup. Yeah.
Series? Yeah, but
the trophy didn't change design.
Yeah, the trucks have their chase starting up here soon. We know what the field looks like now. We'll get into that as well a little bit later. But first and foremost, we have to start with the Cup Series. Now, I have been very busy in my personal life right now. Lots going on at work and in the library with the cross country and track teams, none of which is relevant for the show tonight. But just to give you an idea of part of the reason why I was not able to go back to New Hampshire this year, and even if I had, I probably would have only gone to Saturday once again for the trucks and the modified race. But very interesting Cup Series race. We had the wet weather tires brought out again. We thought we were going to maybe get some rain racing, and then Carson Hocevar looked it around and we realized, okay, maybe the track's not actually ready yet. And then NASCAR showed once again how inexperienced they are at wet weather racing, because apparently crew chiefs aren't allowed to do their jobs and decide when the crossover point is. That was a whole talking point on a teardown that I think sparked a new meme. Jeff Gluck with the automated captions, the stupidest thing of all time. I think that's going to be a new reaction thing that I save in my folder here. But thrilling battle for the win, I would say, Brandon, with Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace, two guys that go way back, have had a lot of great battles throughout their careers, and thought for a second maybe there was a chance that Bubba Wallace was going to be able to get the job done there. He looked like he was really closing the gap to the number 12 Penske Racing Ford, or Team Penske Ford, I should say, but locked up on the 2311 Toyota, and that ultimately, I think, was the difference. Now, obviously, catching somebody is one thing, passing them is another, especially with this next-gen car. So who knows what might have happened. Certainly didn't help Bubba in his quest to get back to victory lane. But in the meantime, a great run for him, but an even better run for Ryan Blaney. It looks like Ford's really turning things around, heating up as we get ready for the Cup Series chase. Brandon, what did you make of that battle for the win?
0.586 seconds was the winning margin. That's pretty incredible. Good to see a great battle there at New Hampshire, a track that really needs excitement. The Magic Mile, it's become an historic place where we go nowadays, but sometimes it ends up being in this time of year, it ends up being just another spot on the calendar, and just kind of logging in the laps, and someone who gets a good restart ends up easily being able to take the win there in the final stage. But yeah, good to see a mixture between the wet weather tires, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first track where we had that happen a few years ago, where we experimented with having it on the ovals, right?
Yeah, the oval. And I think the trucks might have done it at Martinsville actually a couple of years before then. But I think for the Cup Series, it was the Roval the first time that we had them, because O'Reilly / Nationwide goes way back. That was Montreal in 2008.
Montreal, right? Yeah,
I remember that one. And it's been interesting how much progress we've made since then, being able to attempt things like this. But like I said, very interesting start, to say the least.
Yeah, it was great. Like I said, it's great for New Hampshire Motor Speedway to have that sort of weekend and have a close finish, something they can put on their tickets, something they can put in their promotions. I love that for any track, especially one that may not be seen as maybe the go-to place. It's certainly for folks in the new NASCAR fans in the New England area, but on the national scale, love to see, I would say, smaller tracks, not size, but maybe, as far as prominence on the schedule. Yeah, get a big action shot like that, or a great finish like that. And Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, talk all you want about. I don't like drivers being friends on the racetrack, but I think these two, I bet you they'd still fight each other. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, love the dynamic that those two have, and I think made for, like I said, a great battle. Bubba Wallace started car 23, started in position 23, so kind of unexpected to see
big
him.
Jump.
And he finished third in stage 2 as well. So that's
a great. And he earned 43 points.
There you go.
I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah. So Ryan Blaney again. I mean that the wins in this new system, they make all the difference. 70 points after winning stage 2 and finishing 6th in stage 1 as well. So. You had Denny Hamlin finishing 7th. He locks up the regular season championship, even though we're not calling it that anymore. How ironic that we finally start recognizing the regular season championship, and then the year Denny Hamlin earns the #1 chase seed is the year that we stop making that actual presentation a real thing here. But I'm sure he wouldn't care in the slightest anyway. He's got his eyes set on the ultimate prize at the end of the year, and he'll have a great advantage. I mean, again, every year I feel like this is going to be it. This is his last best chance to get the job done. We'll see, man. He's still looking strong. If he carries that much of an advantage over, he might just be unstoppable. But Tyler Reddick.
Playoffs have always been the problem. What will it be like when there's no playoffs?
Yeah. Well, and the chase, even you go back to 2010 as well.
Yeah.
Thought he maybe could have had that one, but Jimmy ultimately prevailed like he always did in that era. But he's got both of his cars, or 2 of his 3 cars, I guess I should say, running very well this weekend also. But I think the one guy that we have to give a huge call to is in the factory teammate Penske affiliate Wood Brothers Racing entry, Josh Berry, with one of the best drives, I mean, aside from Vegas last year, I would say, of his Cup Series career, at a time where he desperately needs it. He is, of course, not returning to that ride in 2027. And we got confirmation just today, Jordan Bianchi breaking the news just a couple of hours before RCR did. Not too surprising to hear this, but Austin Hill going to stick in the 33 for RCR next year. So that was another potential seat that is no longer available. So, Brandon, what did Josh Berry prove to you with the strong run this weekend? And at this point, do you even want to see him back in a Cup ride, or would you rather see him, whether it's with Junior Motorsports or otherwise, maybe take the Justin Allgaier route and try to go compete for an O'Reilly championship?
I think he proved to you at New Hampshire this past weekend that under pressure of, not knowing where your paycheck is coming next year, having that sort of pressure under him, going to a mile oval that better suits his bread and butter, his style of racing from the late model days, that he can come out with a great track position and back it up with a great finish, starting second and being able to keep his momentum through the field and show you how well he can preserve rubber and finish third, even from switching to wet weather tires, which is something he's not used to as much from his upbringing, to getting back to the regular tires. That's and 73 laps led as well on the day, just second to Ryan Blaney. That's a fantastic performance, and should show any team owner like there's some fight for Josh Berry to have a seat next year. He wants it. He has the talent to do it especially at a track like this, or if you want your short track program to improve, he's someone for you to consider. Now, does he need to be in the Cup Series to be successful? Not necessarily. I wouldn't mind seeing, to your point, seeing him back with Junior Motorsports with their grand arsenal of a fleet. Certainly there's some place for Josh Berry to return if Kelly and Dale wanted it to be so. I'm sure there could be something put together there. But the Cup Series, I don't know if there would be a spot for him open. I guess there's plenty of chess pieces left to settle, but I don't know. I don't think I would mind him going back to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. I think that's where he thinks is most likely. What are your thoughts on that? I think O'Reilly would not be too bad of a fit, and I think he would have a better shot at getting some top fives and some wins.
So if you had asked me this a month ago, or even 2 or 3 months ago, I would have probably said the same thing. I'm looking back at his results right now, and he had a top 10 in Martinsville in the spring. After that, from race 8 at Bristol to race 21 at North Wilkesboro, Josh Berry had finished better than 25th one time. That one top 24 finish in those, whatever that is here, 14 races. It was 15th of Michigan. And so you look at numbers like that and you can say, well, how much of that is, we say this is the 4th Penske car, but really since, Ryan Blaney's been in it, Paul Menard, Matt DiBenedetto, they've had some success here or there, but, and Harrison Burton obviously got them their 100th win. But, if they were a full-blown Penske car, we would probably all say, they're like, whatever you look at with Hendrick with the 48 team, they're the 4th car over that stable. It seemed like it was best for both parties to go their separate ways, and perhaps it still is at this point, but we'll see what happens next year. But since then, starting at the Brickyard 400, Josh Berry had a 7th place finish, and then 4th at Iowa, 8th at Richmond, and 3rd at New Hampshire this past weekend, just yesterday. So I look at results like that, and I think to myself, well, okay, this guy probably does have Cup Series caliber talent, and it would be a shame to see him not on the grid next year. Iceman, good to see you again here. You're saying you would like to see colleague sack Ty Dillon for Josh Berry. And listen, Ty Dillon seems like a great guy. There's no denying that. And I still like the in-season challenge last year. That is like a top 3, like go back in time and change one result. Like I would have loved nothing more than to see him bust everybody's brackets even more than he already did by winning the whole thing at Indy last year. Ultimately, Ty Gibbs got the upper hand. But yeah, it does seem like I would take Josh Berry over Ty Dillon. I can certainly tell you that. And you bring up a good point here as well. Also keep in mind when Ryan Blaney drove a 21, Penske were a 2-car team. They expanded to 3 cars when Ryan joined for Penske in 2018. So there's that additional context as well. But, again, like I said, I look at results like this. Now, looking at colleague and the ultimate plans to have Dodge come in and what's going on with Ram and the Truck Series right now, I don't know if the lack of factory support from Chevrolet is going to become even more apparent in the next year or two, however long it takes Dodge to make that jump. I would say 27 is incredibly unlikely at this point. Those stranger things have happened, but looking at that, and even if they do, by the way, you're seeing what they're going through with Ram this year. It's going to take some time to get up to speed. Hello, Toyota in 2007 as well. So
yeah, they still need their truck program figured out.
Yeah,
before they can even consider Cup. Yeah.
So I think when you look at the available seats at this point, it probably, in terms of what would be most fun and most competitive for Josh, I think, going back to O'Reilly wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. However, I think, I don't know what flip was switched to that in that team the last 4 races here, but they've done a fantastic job, and not just Josh. That goes back to the crew and everybody preparing that car. They have brought really quality race cars, and Josh is putting really quality drives here these last 4 races, and more power to him. So I think it is it's been vindication for him. And he also finished second at New Hampshire last year. So I guess we can't be too surprised that he had a great run at this track in particular. But the race is immediately preceding this show, but it's not a fluke. I think it would be, like I said, a shame if he's not on the Cup Series grid next year. But, that club of drivers is more exclusive than it's ever been, unfortunately. And I just don't know that there's going to be a seat open for him at this point. But we'll just have to wait and see. There are still a few final pieces of the puzzle to fall into place here. But like we said, it's not going to be the 33. And again, Brandon, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Austin Hill has, let's just say it hasn't been Kevin Harvick 2001, right? It was an incredibly difficult set of circumstances, Austin Hill stepping into that car. And I think it really puts into perspective what Harvick did 25 years ago as even more remarkable with what he did with the 29 after we lost Dale Earnhardt. But after the tragic loss of Kyle Busch, Austin Hill, I thought, did an admirable job answering the call and stepping into that seat. Of course, he has not had the success. He was running up front briefly in San Diego on that street course. But what are your thoughts on the confirmation that, again, not too surprising that he'll be back in that seat next year? And do you think he can maybe take a step forward and RCR can continue trying to get back to where they once were as an organization?
Yeah, it's tough to fill a position like that after tragedy. And I mean, we saw that with Kevin Harvick, unfortunately with the same team a number of years ago now. And when we were little, and now we're seeing it again with Austin Hill. It was a rough road here in 2026 to take that 33 ride and make the most out of it. Austin Hill, a talented race car driver, but getting all that clicking together in just a matter of weeks, it's certainly not easy. There's been some bright moments, but the motif has been off the lead lap, just kind of hanging around. So extending that program to going to continue with that 33 in Austin Hill in 2027. Yeah, I mean, it's the obvious choice. I mean, there's no reason to do anything right now differently, but I would say they might give it 2027 and maybe an option for 2028 to do something different. But Iceman, he's not keeping his thoughts quiet about Richard Childress Racing. They do need some stability. They needed it before this year. I mean, it was it's been a hard hill climb for about 5 to 10 years now for Richard Childress.
Yeah, well, now we have to wonder, what's going to happen with that 21 seed in the O'Reilly Series as well, because I would assume Austin Hill's going to be running for Cup Series points.
That's right. Well, when another door opens, what about Josh Berry?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? But
I don't know,
Yeah, Austin Hill staying is the right call. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Again, I can't say I disagree with it too much, because I think, especially given the circumstances, stability, and Austin Hill is also a veteran. He's had a decent amount of success in O'Reilly. I think you could do a lot worse, but at the same time, you look at the results and they really haven't been there, especially post Coronado. It's been pretty tough for that team, and I'm sure the organization as a whole. But we'll see if they can use these last 11 races of this season as kind of a testing grounds for what next year might look like. But at least now they have the announcement out of the way that he will be back in that car, and we'll just have to wait and see what that leads to. Spidey Ditko as well. Good to see you. Not surprised Hill was picked, though. I'm sure if he'll. Are you sure? Or are you not sure? Maybe it might be missing a word there, but will he drive there for the long haul? I think that's certainly a very valid question to be asking either way. And you look at who's coming up through the O'Reilly Series right now. There is a good amount of talent that I'm sure would be interested in that seat. There's probably a good amount of talent in the Cup Series that is kind of on the bubble of, will they be back next year? Will they not? Should they be back next year? Should they not? And should they be in a seat like this with what certainly at one time was a top team in the Cup Series, but hasn't had as much success in recent years? And even Austin Dillon, I guess the Richmond setup magic ran out this year, was expecting him to at least be a little more competitive that race last week. So certainly a lot of things to keep an eye on for next year with that organization for sure. All right, we move on now. There we go. Got the confirmation there from Spidey, and I heard RCR's lineup in O'Reilly could be Carson Brown in the 2, Chandler Smith in the 21. Again, just rumors. Yeah, we've heard. And then Iceman as well. I think the Carson Brown rumors certainly have some merit to them. Share of a sponsorship in ARCA, so that would be an interesting pick as well. More on ARCA coming up later when we shoot the breeze. I certainly have some thoughts on that finish there. So we'll keep that for that point of the show. But in the meantime, Formula One is back. We had the Dutch Grand Prix, the final Dutch Grand Prix. Man, it's gonna be a shame seeing Zandvoort fall off the schedule next year, especially now that we know Max Verstappen will be back until 2030. I was very surprised to get that news. I thought he might just take it a year or two at a time, but at least on paper, he's committed for the long haul. We all know contracts are written on paper that can be torn up at any moment these days. And Nico Rosberg had a contract, and then he decided he had enough. He stepped away. So we'll see what happens if Max is really going to be here for at least another 4.5 years. But really unfortunate final home race for him and for all the Dutch fans, him crashing out at the end of the opening lap. And glad to see that he was all right, but certainly kind of put a damper on the race for a lot of those fans. But Lando Norris, again, maybe McLaren peaking at the right time here. They're third in the constructor standings, and certainly I think the rest behind Mercedes, which is the clear number 1, and Ferrari still trying to get out of their own way. In second here, Mercedes followed Lando home on the podium with Kimi and George there, second and third. And I want to give a call as well to Yuki Tsunoda. Great to see him back this weekend. Unfortunate the circumstances with Isaac Hadjar's wrist injury, but I think a great one-off appearance here, maybe putting him on the radar of some more team principals once again. But we also have those IndyCar rumors with Yuki as well, so we'll have to keep our eye on that. But Brandon, I want to ask you, not just this race in particular, but what's been happening all season in Formula One. Obviously, we're on Apple TV now in the United States, and I just saw a tweet go out this morning. It sounds like Drive to Survive Season 9 is confirmed, and the Speed Freaks account asking, is anybody even still watching this show? It was an undeniable boom for Formula One in the United States. We even got the movie last year. Are you still paying attention to the extent that you maybe were 3, 4, or 5 years ago when we were really at the peak with Drive to Survive and the series being on ESPN?
I tell you, it was a lot easier to keep track with it whenever it was showing up on my DVR. And now, I mean, call me an old man, but now that it's not, and I need to remember to go find it myself. I've been finding it less this season, unfortunately. But you know, it's a great idea to try something. I guess I don't know what was wrong. It was just the TV contract expiring in America with ESPN. But you know, that was clearly the way to keep traction going, was to give it to the most eyeballs possible. And we had this talk preseason. We had it in the first couple of rounds because we knew this was coming. Like, yeah, if you take it off of cable in America, away from the bars, away from the public eye, I mean, no one's gonna just, hey bro, can you sign into my Apple TV account and put it on this one? And no, put it on Fox. We're gonna watch IndyCar. Like they're not gonna do it. I mean, yeah, it's been kind of a mess, and it's kind of made it even more niche than it already was. And yeah, with the Drive to Survive, like it's the same bull crap every year. I mean, it's just the same formula. No pun intended. Of, you know, my name is this, I this, and then bleep 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 this and that, bleep bleep this and that, and crashes what happy-go-luckies want to see, not actual things about the motorsport itself. I mean, maybe it's little nuggets here and there, but really it's like Desperate Housewives of Hungary. It's just drama of the team owners. It's Toto Wolff making faces. Like, it's not for me. It's definitely not for me. But, you know, it might be for you, and that's okay. But I feel like if if you liked Formula One before it grew to popularity here in the last 10 years, Drive to Survive is like it's an education class. You know, it's not for those that really care about what's happening this year.
Yeah, well, and Iceman says it right here. I haven't watched in season 2. I didn't like go out of my way to not watch season 3. It's just
since it was on Netflix.
Yeah, well, and there's that too. I'm mad at Netflix I'm mad at all the streamers for price gouging and raising their prices. I just heard Peacock's going to raise them for the 4th time in 4 years. Apparently, ESPN Unlimited's about to get a bump up. Like, when does it end? Like, at what point do we revolt as a society and just stop paying all these streamers?
The best Drive to Survive had Daniel Ricciardo on it.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, he pretty much made that show.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I just and again, by the time I was like, well, maybe I should get around to watching season 3. Season 4 came out and the reviews were very mixed. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just I don't really have too much interest in watching something that I'm probably not going to enjoy, and something that I enjoy watching the actual races and following the sport. I feel like, to your point, Brandon,
that's the show.
Yeah, it's not it's not for me. It's just a bit. And again, that's not to say it's bad. Like, I'm not going to like hear people say like, oh, you're just a DTS fan. Like, I don't like that. I don't think we should gatekeep it from the people that like the show.
And it obviously worked. It brought it to the mainstream. There's no doubt about that. It did its job. So, but
100%.
It brought a new type of fan to the fan base, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, it's just, I don't know. I couldn't be cared enough to bother getting back in. I'm already logging on to one streaming service to actually watch it nowadays. Now I gotta go over to Netflix to watch the other one. I don't know, or watch the show, I should say. But yeah, well, I guess, and I've been watching through F1 TV is synced up with Apple, so at least like those two services are like combined now. But I'm with you. It was much easier to just open up YouTube TV or Sling or whatever I had at the time and just turn on ESPN. And I think ESPN, for all of their flaws, and boy, do they have a lot of flaws nowadays here in 2026, but for all their flaws, they are still in many ways the worldwide leader in sports. And I think being on a platform like that makes a lot more sense for Formula One than being behind a paywall with Apple TV. But we'll see. I don't know. The ratings have been a little more secretive this year. I feel like I'm still hearing about it in my circles. I'm still seeing the occasional piece of Red Bull or McLaren or Ferrari or Mercedes merch out in the wild. So I think it is certainly higher than it was pre-ESPN Drive to Survive here in the States. But I don't know. It does seem like they're on the NASCAR late 2000s, early 2010s speed run. And then on top of all that, you've got the new regs this year, which are getting mixed reviews, to say the least. So,
I mean, all that's left is a recession, and then the prophecy will be complete.
Well,
but let's not go there.
Is that left at this point, or are we already in there? I don't know.
Are you able to tell that you're in one when you're in one, or is that something you only know after the fact?
Well, I thought that was good days, not the recession or bad days, right? That one, maybe you can. We'll leave it there. Let's catch up.
Maybe the recession was the friends we made along the way.
There you go. That's a good note to end it on, I guess. Hello to Adam. New Hampshire Motor Speedway will always have a place in my heart. Davey Allison's last race, so modified, seeing stars like Dale Sr., among others, compete there. New Hampshire's Iceman says New Hampshire's first Cup race being Davey Allison's last race was insane. And actually, Adam, I didn't realize that. My apologies if you had told me that before, but you were there in '93 for Davey's last race. That is very very fitting, I suppose, for you. And I can't say I'm too surprised there, but yeah, Iceman says at least you got to see Davey race. Yeah, a little bit before our time. I was born in 1999, so
Davey's my dad's favorite for sure. Yeah, by a mile and a half.
Yeah, and fitting that his name comes up here again, because I think it's this the last several months have reminded, I think, a lot of the older fans of 92, 93. Losing Alan Kawicki and Davey Allison so close to one another, and I know Greg Biffle had been retired for at least from full-time Cup for several years at that point, but still, we hadn't even recovered from that tragedy and losing all of his family as well. And, then losing Kyle Busch, it's been a hard several months here for a NASCAR community. But I imagine, for the older fans that were around in 1993, probably feels pretty similar to that. Obviously, I can't speak to that, but certainly still keeping all the families that have been affected by the tragedies this year in our thoughts and prayers. It's been a tough year to say the least. Well, there you go, Iceman. There's a reason people commonly ask in this economy here, sarcastically speaking. But yes, that's times are tough right now in more ways than one. And I think
that phrase has been around since the recession, recession.
Yeah. Since which recession? Yeah,
exactly. 2008.
Yeah,
the Guitar Hero recession.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was not the only racing action going on this weekend. NASCAR Cup and Formula One. We had an IndyCar race on the streets of Washington, D.C. And I've got to say, all things considered, and I was pretty nervous for this one, not just from the, guys, if you want to say keep politics out of sports, I'm sorry, on a weekend like this, it's unavoidable. It is by definition.
Can't do it.
When the president of the United States is waving the green flag and it's on the, people are going to make it political one way or another. And it is inherently political one way or another. There was a lot of political turmoil that went into trying to make an event like this happen in the first place, for better or for worse. So you can have whatever opinions you want to have about this race or the administration or whatever. But it was kind of amusing to me to seeing the keep politics out of sports crowd, not only loving this weekend, but getting mad at people on social media who were trying to even constructively provide some criticisms, and then saying, "Oh, stop making it political." Like, well, it's kind of political by definition here. But all things considered, congratulations to Kyle Kirkwood, and seeing Mario Andretti that excited was pretty special. I got to tell you, even for somebody like him who's been around for so long, never gets old seeing his team run well. But honestly thought it was a pretty successful weekend, all things considered. There was a lot of concern with the tight turnaround and being on the streets of DC. Were they going to be able to pull this off? And here we are talking about, could this maybe not just be a one-off? Might we come back next year? Or, hearing some rumors, maybe DC wants to bring NASCAR to the streets. We know NASCAR's been getting into street racing, I should say. I guess for the first time in many, many years. If talking about the modern era, you can't really say getting back into it, because it's still a very new innovation for them. Wouldn't that be something? And we saw full-bodied cars on the track this weekend as well. Unc still got it. Jeff Gordon, what a weekend for him. I'm sure our friend Matthew Owens was going absolutely crazy watching those IROC races. But how about the 4-time Cup Series champion still getting it done as well? I think, again, all things considered, a pretty successful weekend.
I think crazier than that was just seeing International Race of Champions on Fox.
Yeah.
That may not happen again, but that was neat to see.
Yeah,
and also the same IROC cars, just it's like bringing out Gen 4 NASCAR Cup cars just out again. That series is wild.
Well, who would have thought 20 years later we have IROC is back. It's being streamed on X, formerly known as Twitter, from the official Fox News account, not the Fox Sports account, the Fox News account. And it's on the streets of Washington, D.C. Like that is like the craziest possible Mad Lib you could have put together 20 years ago. But this is how we get IROC back. And
someone filled out their bingo card.
Yeah, it was a great show. Jeff Gordon, I'm already seeing the calls to put Jeff in a junior motorsports car, or get Jeff to finally make his truck start, because there were rumors that maybe he was going to run Eldora all those years ago.
Y'all, it's an IROC show car. Calm down. This was a show race. This was a supporting race to look good on TV.
If anyone could do it, though, maybe it would be one of the greatest of all time in his, what is he now, 55, 56 years old? I think
55.
56. I think he just turned 55, actually, because his birthday's in August, right? It was always around the Brickyard 400. So yeah, he's still got it, man. I know it's not, it's old IROC show cars and old retired legend. I mean, Rusty Wallace, of all people out there, he's got to be pushing 70, right? I don't know exactly how old Rusty is now, but great to see him out there as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean,
LEO
a
two
pretty,
and
yeah, to not get into the political BS too much here, just focusing on the race. I thought, you know what? Credit to everybody who helps put this together. I think it could have gone one of two ways, and again, you're always going to have the extremes on either side that want to push whatever agenda they're seeking to. But from a racing perspective, I thought it was a very good weekend and exposed the sport to a lot of eyes that maybe wouldn't have seen it otherwise. So I think,
yeah,
all in all, yeah,
as Townsend Bell said, the track itself maybe not as geometrically pleasing, but I mean the scenery. I don't. Yeah, no political chains here. Just beautiful scenery. I mean, you got. Again, I wish you could separate the politics from it. To your point, I wish you could, but like, you gotta love the space of the United States Capitol. It's just, I mean, it's historical. It's the very definition of historical. Like that is the place. Like there's the United States Capitol. There's the archives. I mean, just beautiful scenery. Yeah, they have to be a little distanced away, but they're start finish line on Pennsylvania Avenue. You gotta love that. No, and as a race fan, you gotta appreciate that no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And in that the being on the New York Times, Washington Post, making the front page of all these different national papers because you're an IndyCar race in Washington D.C. I think that was a great accomplishment, and also Bud Denker with Penske Corporation, kind of seeing his brainchild come to life and seeing him get emotional about it. I mean, I know he's possibly a multimillionaire, but still seeing his creation come to life was, it's a human moment. It was, rewarding to see someone's efforts get rewarded, for an idea that maybe was laughed at in a boardroom just not too long ago, or, not even imagined, was put together. That's a story that I think anyone can get behind.
No doubt. So, like I said, we'll see if this is truly a one and done, or if it comes back next year. And it sounds like, and I mean, we have a very, very conservative administration, very liberal part of the country in Washington D.C. Overwhelmingly, I think they vote low 90% Democrat in every presidential election going back however many years. And yet it sounds like there are people from both sides that are saying, you know what, this was good for the city. Maybe we should try to look into having a bipartisan effort go forward to bring them back next year.
I'd love to hear that.
If they can do that, more power to them, quite honestly. So
they're not going to bring UFC back. So
yeah, well,
the best part about this is, Ben, though, if they do bring it back for another year, we won't have those horrendous AI commercials for this event. We'll actually have real footage, real commentary.
We will have those things at our disposal to use for the promotions. But
Fox will make a new AI generated video.
Are we sure they're actually gonna? Yeah,
they won't use it though because they think it looks better. Yeah. There's some demented producer at Fox that really just is on this AI video train right now. It started with the Daytona 500, and they're not stopping.
Well, you know what? That's the perfect segue, because actually, man, I got to tell you, I know Max Reeves is a 16-year-old kid, and he may very well have a lot of talent. He may be a future star one day. But he is driving, objectively by a mile, the best car in the ARCA Menards series, and his antics, not just this weekend, and I don't care if he says he didn't touch Gavin Bushell. He certainly touched him on the straight and got him out of shape going into the corner. And whether or not he finished him off or not, or Gavin just got loose in the dirt or whatever, is, the camera work for ARCA races on Fox Sports is not always great in terms of being able to see in high definition, super up close, was there contact, was there not contact. At this point, I don't feel like he necessarily has the benefit of a doubt. And to see him play into it, and Charlie Krall, who did a great job interviewing him on the Fox broadcast, I will certainly give Charlie his credit there where it's due. But in asking him about an incident prior, and Max saying, "Oh, I don't really know what you're talking about," but playing it up with the crowd and then posting on Instagram afterwards that we parked the car in Victory Lane, and love seeing Victory Junction on the car. That's a great cause. But saying, oh, we put Victory Junction and Victory Lane fair and square. And, I think he, even at 16, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And the antics make me, who has been, to put it lightly, pretty aggressively anti-generative AI in recent months. They make me look at the AI-generated cheeseburgers with like the trypophobic cheese that is growing out of the meat.
Every small town restaurant menu.
The dragon scale buns. I mean, it just looks off. I'm like, who looks at this and thinks, yes, that'll draw and cut? It makes me want to eat at those places more than I want to eat at Cookout. I mean, this is where we're at right now. This is
3D printed tacos. Yum.
I'm just, man, and I like Cookout. They've got good food. The milkshakes are. I've only been a couple of times because they don't go north of Maryland, and it's like we were mapping out. I remember living in Delaware and saying, "Well, there's one opening in Maryland. It's only 2 hours away. Maybe we should go." But now, am I supporting the most OP car in the Arkham Menard series getting even better in some ways? I don't know. I can't. It makes Cookout unappealing to me. It has the opposite effect of what a sponsor is supposed to. But I will end it on this note here. My good friend William Soquet, who has been helping me process my grief as we continue to mourn the loss of Kyle Busch, what he tweeted the night of May 21st, saying, his arc in watching Kyle's NASCAR career and saying, as a kid, he would specifically go out of his way to eat different candy other than M&Ms because he couldn't stand Kyle Busch that much. Kyle Busch was once an immature young hotshot driving the 18. Now, again, not apples to apples because he had already made it to the Cup Series, had 4 Cup wins with Hendrick. It was a different level, different time in the sport's history, not the same as what Max Reeves is doing. But if Max Reeves can mature a little bit in the coming years and make the most of the inevitable Joe Gibbs O'Reilly opportunity he's going to get come 2028, 2029, I don't want to completely always and forever throw a 16-year-old kid under the bus. But right here, right now, I will say he's got a lot of maturing to do. And this weekend aside, I think I'll just leave it at that there. Iceman also brings up a good point. Taylor Reimer shouldn't have gotten penalized, in my opinion. She could have won that race. And there is that too. Who's to say Max Reeves wouldn't have done that? But solid drive for Taylor Reimer as well. Being back on the dirt track, a great opportunity for her. Great to see her running up as high as second throughout the race. And certainly frustrating. I know even Corey Heim, her significant other there, and obviously the great Truck Series champion, Cup Series race winner, saying that ARCA's officiating was pretty pitiful there. Now, obviously he's biased, but I certainly don't disagree. I thought the penalty was incredibly harsh, didn't quite fit the crime, if you can even call it a crime. And again, to Charlie's credit, though, he was mentioning this on Twitter as well after the race. It sounds like they're going to look into that and maybe have a slightly different setup for DuQuoin in terms of tracking, potential violations like that on restarts. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that as well. So, let's see. A couple comments for Iceman, then we'll move on to the trucks. And Iceman, I'll circle back to the comments you left at the start of the show as well. If Ty Gibbs can mature, so can Max Reeves. And totally agree with that. And I think Ty Gibbs has done a decent job of that now in the Cup Series as well. Heck, even Jesse Love has handled getting punted out of the way better aside from last year with Nick Sanchez. Yeah, Gavin was not happy. I can tell you that much for sure. And certainly made that known both at the track and on social media after the race. So we'll leave ARCA there. Trying to pull up the results. I guess I'll go through the rest of the top 5 here. Was Isaac Kitzmiller in second. I thought maybe he had a shot at the win in the closing laps. He seems to be knocking on the door there. So great run for him. Thomas Annunziata third, and then Reimer ended up fourth ahead of Bushell in fifth. And then your championship points leader, Jake Bowman, in sixth. Kelly Kofsky, great to see him back on the dirt as well in seventh. Isabella Robusto eighth. Tim Monroe ninth. And Jason Kitzmiller rounding out your top 10 in the Arkham Menard series on the dirt at Springfield. We move on now to the Truck Series race, and want to say first and foremost, congratulations to Front Row Motorsports, a 1-2, Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith. Some major drama with the cut line It looked like we were going to see that all play out under green. And then, man, tough weekend for Gavin Moschel, of all people, taking a very hard hit in the closing laps to set up a couple of overtime restarts. But didn't affect what happened up front. Lane Riggs was dominant, started on pole, second in the first stage, third in the second stage, and goes on to win the race. But in the chase cutoff, Iceman bringing up the owner's standings here, but it was Tyler Ankrum getting that final spot. Looking at the owner's playoffs, however, you've got both Spire trucks in there, the 7 and 77. Tricon's one of an East 45, and they make it over McAnally Hilgeman's 18 and 19, the CR79, and with Motorsport Racing 99. So almost half the field, 40%. Going to look a little bit different here. But Brandon, I don't know if you have a favorite necessarily in terms of Lane Riggs and Caden Honeycutt. I think they're certainly the top two. But what do you make of this inaugural return to the chase field for the Truck Series here in 2026?
Yeah, it's strange to have the chase be across all three top national series. But it's kind of refreshing, though, to have it all be the same thing. Looking back at years past, we know it was when they changed to the chase for the Cup Series, and then it was still full points for a while for everything else. And now it's at least we're consistent across all three. But yeah, having the chase field set for the Craftsman Truck Series is nice, and I've got Lane Riggs pretty handily. I think he's gonna have what it takes to take it. Ankrum taking the final spot, of course, as you said, but looks like a fight between Honeycutt, Riggs, and then the outgoing Chandler Smith in those top three spots. I don't know. I don't see any other clear favorites besides whoever who's already up there in the top three.
Yeah, I think those are certainly your favorites, no doubt. Certainly wouldn't be unprecedented for somebody to go on a little bit of a run here in these final.
I could see Majeski going on a little tear if they're up for it, but it may not be enough. It might be too little, too late.
Yeah, well, he's got championship experience, and obviously so does that 88 Motorsport team. But again, looking at the and they did squeak into the owners, as Iceman mentioned in that comment. That's been by Bell, keeping the 62 out. And I thought it was interesting as well, Bob Pockris clarifying now that there's no win you're in, the Cup guys could run this final race before the chase and maybe assist with that owner's battle if that was on the mind of teams, or if they're just trying to, have a Cup Series veteran in that car to, help with their R&D or whatever, or if the Cup guy just loves racing on Saturdays, which I think Christopher Bell hinted at it also to his credit. But looking at the chase field, it was certainly a heartbreaker for Stuart Friesen in more ways than one on both championship ends, and Jake Garcia as well. But I'm sure Tyler Ankrum was relieved. He's had some solid runs here and there, but maybe a bit of a down year compared to last year when he went on that run. So we'll see if he can turn it around. He is the number 10 seed. He's got the furthest mountain to climb here. And again, I think what I like about this system, as much as I can like a postseason, again, I am not going to stop fighting for full straight up season long points, but Lane Riggs far and away has been the favorite. Caden Honeycutt, I think, as well, has been the number 2 favorite, and they are first and second by a bigger margin than the rest of the field, separated by 5 points each. So I will give the chase credit where it's due in that regard. And we'll just have to wait and see if they can hold those advantages that they have going into the final stretch of races here on this, like I said, I guess inaugural for the Truck Series, because when trucks got introduced to this insanity in 16, it was the elimination playoffs. So this is the first time we've seen this style of championship format in Trucks and O'Reilly. So we'll see how it plays out here. Our first teaser of a chase coming up here in the Truck Series. And speaking of teasers as well, Brandon, how do you like this? We're going back to Bowman Gray, not for the Clash, but for a points-paying Truck Series race. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I got to put it somewhere on the schedule. I mean, you put too much effort into Bowman Gray to leave it alone. So yeah, that's going to be really fun. That's I hope they keep the rest of the supporting series there, like the local guys, and then I hope the local modified guys get a chance to have some truck starts. That'll be a great weekend, and it's a great facility. They've moved some, with the renovations, they've moved the permanent staff in, to help run the place year round, and yeah, that's a really nice addition for 2027.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what format they come up with because, like Eldora, I think there's going to be a limit on field size, and it probably won't go as high as 36. So we're going to have to wait and see what
Right.
NASCAR decides to do there. Going to be a very interesting race for sure. Iceman also adding on to the Truck Series conversation. It's ironic how Grant Empinger missed the postseason during 2017 because of lack of stage points, but he makes it this year because of a surplus of stage points in comparison to both Ankrum and Friesen. And yeah, that's another great point. Stage points still exist, and they still certainly throw a wrench in some of these drivers' plans. And I guess the overall straight up race results don't even tell the full story. It is dependent on how you're running throughout the entire race through the stages. And that works better for some drivers than it does for others, for sure. All right. Finally tonight, congratulations again. Wish I could have made it back up there, but John McKennedy winning the Modified Tour race. Great to see Justin Bonsignor back out there as well. Thrilling finish also to this one. Maybe not quite as thrilling as last year seeing Tyler Rickham win the race with just 3 wheels, but there's a reason why this is their Daytona 500 and their biggest race of the year. Being on a companion date with the Cup Series and the trucks as well. Great to see the Modifieds back in action, and certainly hope I can get back in 27. It didn't work out this year, but we'll see. Certainly would love to get back there in the future for sure. So let's see. Iceman, one more comment, and then we'll begin wrapping up the show. Trucks most of the time don't get 36 truck grids. New Hampshire this weekend was surprising with 41 entries, though. I think trucks will be fine. Well, again, it will depend on, I think, how short the field is, but I think even 30 is probably stretching it for Bowman Gray. I mean, I guess how high did we go with the Clash? I think was that 27? I think I'm trying to think of both the LA Coliseum and Bowman Gray, since those are the only comps that we really have. But I don't know. I feel like we tried 27 at one of those tracks a couple of years ago, and we realized, like, yeah, this is getting a little tight here. So even if you factor that in, that's a full quarter of a 36 truck grid. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't mind. I mean, if you get 40 plus trucks, this is going way back, but Daytona used to have those consolation races back when you had 15 cars that wouldn't qualify for the Daytona 500. Now, you have a little consolation race with some of those trucks out there running from 25th on back. I think that would be pretty entertaining, and maybe have them race for 26th place points on back. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas here, but at Bowman Gray at the Madhouse of all places, I think that would be fun to watch.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I want to just, again, if you have any final questions in the chat, you can put them in here now. But I want to give a couple of updates on this channel and video projects I'm working on. I'm currently editing Michigan in my Always Standard Green project. I believe that means I have 10 and a half races worth of footage to go, plus the concluding part of the video in part 5. So hoping to get part 4 done by the end of the work week, and then begin working on part 5 this weekend. Again, that may be an optimistic timeline. Like I said, I've got a lot going on right now. But for the game show audience, I want to address this specifically as well, and I'll probably clip this and put this on the channel as a standalone video, so hopefully it reaches them. But I am glad that people are enjoying the $1 Million Almost Impossible series. Again, I've been noticing a spike on the Minute to Win It video, especially, as well as the Millionaire video over the last couple of weeks. And I'm glad people are watching them. I'm glad people are enjoying them. I'm definitely going to leave them up. But I'll just be honest with you straight up. I'm not particularly proud of that series. I feel like there were a couple of episodes, Weakest Link in particular, where I kind of missed the mark. I kind of, didn't get the pacing down right. I know somebody was just today, actually this afternoon, mentioned that in the comments of the Greed video. So I have another idea, like I've teased on this show before, kind of a rise of the field fillers for the motorsports audience. They'll get that reference for sure. That style series on the launch of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and then all the $1 million shows that popped up at the turn of the millennium and into the 2000s and even the early 2010s, continuing on to today in the last decade or so with all the revivals at ABC and trying to tie that all together. So again, this is a very long-term look ahead. Again, apologies to the game show audience for not putting more content out there. I've been hard at work on this NASCAR project, but I haven't forgotten about it. And I will get back to putting some game show videos out there once this NASCAR project is released. So rest assured, there are ideas that I'm working on and future videos coming. Just might still be a few months before I get to those. But if you have any suggestions, any shows that you would like me to take a look at, I'm certainly open to that. But that's probably going to be the direction of the game show content in the next several uploads. Hopefully, like I said, I've got an idea for starting that series, and then we'll see where it goes a couple episodes in. I'm not going to do what I'm doing for Always Stay on the Green, where I do all the episodes and then release them all in a weekly schedule, because if I do that, I'm going to have like 20 episodes and be working on this until I'm 40 or 50 years old, and it's just never going to get done. So that will be a
lifetime project.
I might put 1 or 2 episodes in the can and release them, close to one another, but that'll be a work in progress, much like Brock's Rise of the Field Fillers for 500 days. So There is more coming. Just bear with me a little bit. I've got a massive NASCAR project I'm working on right now that's taken priority, but I haven't forgotten about you all. And I appreciate the support. Like I said, maybe this is just like, the artist himself being the most critical of his work out of anybody, but I think I can do a lot better at taking a look at those shows, and I'm hopeful to put a spotlight on, kind of the production side of things and the history of how those shows came to be. And it is certainly an idea that's bouncing around in my mind. I just haven't had the time to necessarily put it together, but that will change hopefully in the coming months.
Good deal.
Yeah. So we will leave that there. Like I said, thank you so much for watching, Iceman, as always, for tuning in. Brandon, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off for the evening here?
Heading back to Daytona, and also one nugget here from Team 21. I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but it's worth mentioning again if we didn't, about Josh Berry. He was the first Wood Brothers racing driver to have 4 straight top 10s since Morgan Shepherd in 1994. It's time to sign him somewhere. It may not be Cup, but let's get this man somewhere.
That is wild.
That's pretty cool.
Man, I would have thought, I know Mikey didn't win until he got to DEI, but, Elliott Sadler, was very decent for a few years. Ryan Blaney was in that car. I know Matt DiBenedetto, Paul Menard, you maybe think of them as top 20 drivers, but I would have thought
couldn't string even 4 top 10s. Any of those drivers. That is pretty, besides Josh Berry.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. And I assume that, I know that car was part-time for a while. I assume that includes like Ken Schrader and Bill Elliott and all those guys, but yeah, it was rough for the Wood Brothers for many years, and I think that stat is just another indication of that there. All right, well, we'll end it here with Iceman. This is a real possibility. We're going to Daytona.
We're still looking at it.
We'll see. Yeah, it is definitely it's a much greater than 0% chance that this happens. And again, I think the only controversy is over the fact that it came from a penalty and not, Priest had to miss a race and somebody else stepped into that car. I think if that had been the case, then there wouldn't be as much controversy over this. But yeah, certainly something to keep an eye on. Although knowing Ryan Priest's history with Daytona, it's, if I were an RFK fan, I might be a little bit nervous right now. But we'll see. I think there was a comment in here as well from you about where the 23, where Bubba Wallace's car sits in that fight, and I think it would take a perfect storm of events for anything too crazy to happen. And we don't have Win and You're In anymore, so it won't be a Harrison Burton style walk-off miracle or anything. But should be interesting to watch nonetheless. And I would love for this race to be on July 4th weekend, but I'm more okay with it being the regular season finale now that Win and You're In isn't a thing, because like I said, you had, and people said this during the playoff era as well, but you had 25 weeks. If you're still on the bubble at this point, you can probably point to a couple of races in that 25 that you maybe should have done things a little bit differently. So we'll leave it there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, for Brandon Crossland, I'm Ben Schneider, and we will see you next week for another Motorsport Monday. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy the upcoming racing this weekend.